All right, Alexander, we have not forgotten about the EU Recovery Fund. This is the recovery fund for the CV pandemic. I assume the 2 trillion or 4 trillion or 1 trillion or 500 billion. I don't know. The numbers keep on changing.
Nobody knows the figures exactly.
They're having a meeting right now and they're stuck, right?
Yeah, exactly.
They can't figure things out. What's going on?
They can't figure things out. This is exactly it. I mean, we don't yet know how it's going to turn out, but Macron and Merkel did this deal to raise this fund. Merkel said that there would be no debt mutualization. In other words, the EU institutions wouldn't be able to borrow money as EU institutions on the financial markets. Is prohibited by treaty. Merkel said it would never happen. Merkel then agreed with Macron that it would. We've discussed it in previous programs. The more conservative, more financially prudent countries, the so-called Frugal Four, led by the Netherlands, don't like this idea at all, and they've been resisting. And what we've heard is that the first day of the summit has gone extremely badly. There's been no agreement. They are stuck, and it looks as if they're going to remain stuck for the rest of the summit. But of course, as you so often say, Alex, these guys never give up. Macron and Merkel will be back. And there's talk that if they don't succeed this time, they will come up with the same proposal at a fresh EU summit in a month's time. So always this ball keeps rolling on. However clear it is that it's rolling down a hill straight into an abyss where it's going to take all of Europe down with it. But I mean, they still keep it rolling on. Remorselessly and relentlessly. They don't give up. They're not going to give up this time. They're going to go on pushing, even though, as I said, lots of states and lots of people around Europe, in Germany itself, and these 4 frugal states are resisting them.
Now, the leaders of this of the resistance, let's call it the resistance in this case, Netherlands and Austria, and who else?
Sweden to some extent.
Okay. This is the slush fund that they want to put together, fund. Right?
It's the slush fund.
And I was reading that the Netherlands doesn't want this slush fund to be doled out as grants. They want it to be as loans. Of course, you're going to have the Southern European countries, Italy, Greece, Spain, who are going to be saying, give it to us as grants. Germany is obviously siding with the southern states in this case.
Yeah, it is. Well, I mean, it is because Germany I mean, from Merkel's point of view, I mean, first of all, she's an integrationist and a globalist, and she wants to keep the EU show on the road to the extent that she can. And remember, she's got stronger recently because of the pandemic crisis has actually strengthened her, it's weakened her opponents. So she's got an ideological commitment to this. But as the Queen of Europe, so-called, she is, of course, interested in having a EU slush fund, because ultimately it is she who will control it. I say she, of course, in theory, she's supposed to be quitting as Chancellor in a year's time. I'm far from convinced that's going to happen now. But even if she does, she's going to try and handpick her successor. And whoever does succeed her, she will want them to be in control of this slush fund, which is what it will be, so that it can go on finding various people across Europe whom it can buy over to keep, as I said, this show continually on the road. Because this is what this is all about. I think someone actually put it really well, that Merkel is not really, she always does just enough to keep the show moving. She never really makes any decisive step in any particular direction, but she does just enough to keep it moving, just enough to keep her in overall control. And a slush fund like this works exactly to her advantage.
Isn't it odd to see the Netherlands going against Germany on this?
Yes,
does that strike you as odd?
It's extremely odd. In fact, it must be extremely painful for Merkel. But of course, the Dutch are simply being more German here than the Germans are, because the Netherlands is another one of those countries that manages to keep its accounts in balance, its budget in balance, that has a very strict financial culture. I know the Netherlands reasonably well, and this is not, I think, an overstatement. I mean, I think this is very much how the Dutch do work and they do think. If you remember from the Greek crisis, the Dutch were amongst the most hardline in relation to Greece about lending to Greece. So it's not surprising, I think, that the Dutch are resisting these moves. I would add that the Dutch people have issues with Germany anyway, going back to the Second World War and before. So there has always been a certain tension between the Dutch people and the Germans, which is historic. There's still some lingering elements of it there. But fundamentally, it's the same in the Netherlands as I think it is with many people in Germany. They don't like debt mutualization. They don't like this package. In Germany, Merkel's position is at the moment strong enough that she can override those doubts. In the Netherlands, her equivalent, Mark Rutte, is nowhere near as strong. He has to take those concerns of the Dutch people into greater account. Can I add again, for our viewers to know, I am wholly against this whole idea of debt mutualization. I think it's a very bad idea. I think this is not the way forward at all. The way forward is to do away with the euro. It is not to increase integration in this.
The currency, you mean? I always have to say the currency. Get rid of the currency.
Get rid of the currency. Get rid of the currency. Don't mutualize the debts. That's entirely the wrong way. It's only going to create even more problems down the road. It is a completely misconceived idea. So, that's my own view. And for that reason, for all that happened in 2015 with Greece, I am entirely on the side of the Dutch on this one.
Yeah, and finally, Alexander, they say this money won't start getting distributed if it does go through and the debt is mutualized. It won't get distributed until 2021, 2022.
2022 is what I've heard.
22. So this has nothing to do with the CV pandemic.
No, of course it does. It has nothing to do with the pandemic. It's everything to do with setting up a slush fund, which is exactly what we said. I mean, it's so transparent, actually, that it's almost comical. And it's what's comical and what's tragic is to see how the media, the mainstream media, solemnly reports all this as if all this is real. It's not real. It's not what they're saying at all. All you have to look at is the sums involved and the timing. I mean, even the largest amounts that they were saying, it would not be enough for a recovery fund for the entire Eurozone or the entire EU. It just isn't that kind of we're just not talking about those sums of money. What we're talking about is a step towards mutualization of debts, which is, of course, what the EU bureaucracy wants, because it assists the process of integration, and setting up yet another fund that they can use in order to buy support across Europe from powerful players that can then be enlisted into the EU elite and which will continue to support them. We've seen how that works in places like Northern Macedonia, which, as we must now call it, with the various EU structural funds, with all of those things. There's just another slush fund. That's all it is.
Yeah, and when this goes through, it means that Germany is on the hook for everyone's debt.
Oh, well, absolutely. That's
the bottom line, is Germany is on the hook for everyone's debt. And I just want to say that, people who are watching this, say in Greece, for example, if you think this money is going to trickle down to the everyday Greek person,
that's not what this is about.
I got a bridge to sell you, because
exactly
all these trillions, everyday Greek people and people who are suffering in Greece and Italy and Spain and Portugal, we're not going to see any of this money.
Of course not. I mean, that's again, it's not what this is all about. Everybody loses except those who gain, who are the people who are well connected, the people who are part of the Brussels bureaucracy gains, and various elements of the political elite, the European elite, the globalist European elite gain too, because they gain another slush fund. And that's what this is all about. They're not interested ultimately in whether Germany does well, or Greece does well, or Portugal does well, or Italy does well, but they will do very well out of this because it suits them.
Yeah, but if this goes through, Germany is screwed.
Yes.
Because they're on the hook for everyone's debt. I mean, am I saying this?
No, you're absolutely. I mean, debt mutualization is a disaster for Germany. I mean, it's like saying that the state of Massachusetts, say, takes over the liability for the entire debt of the United States. I mean, that's the kind of logic it would be. I mean, it's a crazy idea, and it's unworkable, and ultimately unacceptable. The German people, sooner or later, will rebel against it, but that would probably be later, and an enormous amount of damage would be done in the meantime.
All right, we'll leave it there. Alexander Mercouris, you got a couple mugs, 5-10 seconds.
I certainly do.
We got a lot of new merchandise.
We got amazing new merchandise. Look, you've got this is Britain. I'm sorry. This is Britain, and this is the United States, the two great English-speaking nations, the two nations that fought together in the Second World War, and have been friends ever since. And we've got smaller mugs. This is Greece, and you can see Russia. They're the smaller 11-ounce mugs, but we've also got amazing new enameled mugs, which you can also find on the shop, which are just incredible. They haven't reached me yet. And we've also got a whole lot of new shirts, all of them amazing and extraordinary new products altogether, and more ebooks too. If you come to our shop, you will find them there. You will support the Duran by buying them, and Alex will very quickly tell you how you can get them.
You'll find the link to the shop underneath this video, and also donate to us on PayPal, Patreon, and Subscribestar. We really need your help, so send in a couple of bucks to help us out, keep this channel going. Alexander, thank you very much. Take care, everybody.